Hi, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Sipping Tea with Suzanne. I am your fabulous host, Positively Suzanne, and I have with me in the studio the fabulous Valerie. Hi, welcome
Hi.
to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I am very excited to have you. I can't wait for us to dive in.
We're going to have fun.
We're going to have so much fun. Well, listen, this is a brand new episode. As I mentioned, it's 2024. It's a new year. I hope the year has started off amazing for you. And if it hasn't, you have the opportunity to turn it around. So make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Make sure that you're liking and you're hitting the notification button so that you'll be notified every time we upload new contents. Because I promise to bring you amazing guests week after week. Before we move forward, I do want to highlight first, I want to say thank you to my sponsor, Paul Anderson Photography. He's responsible for all the fabulous photography that you see. And if you are interested in being a sponsor, please connect with me. But I'm going to turn around because I am ready to chat with Miss Valerie, who is the CEO and founder of Promoting Good. And I was so fascinated by this, like when I saw the logo. We connected in 2023, right?
Yep.
2023 was a good year for me.
It was a good year.
It was. I met so many amazing connections like you. And I was like, Promoting Good. I was like, oh, okay. Promoting Good. Like, because my company kind of got birthed in trying to promote positive things. So I was just fascinated. So tell me about Promoting Good and what is it?
So, Promoting Good. It is a consulting company that I started in 2017. So we're 6 years old, and we are helping communities act equitably every day. That's our new tagline. You're the first to hear it. And so we work with organizations from tiny entrepreneurs who are just starting to 20,000 employee organizations. And I named it Promoting Good because I really think it is possible to be a leader, to be a colleague, to be somebody in the workplace that by promoting good ensures that everybody feels belonging and can be successful at work. Mm-hmm. And so we tell our clients that our partnership with them is aimed at helping them do good every day. And if they do good every day, they're going to be successful. And people are going to feel good about the work that they do. Mm-hmm. And so we help organizations build diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies. We start by assessing where they are, right? So some organizations don't even know what DEIB is. Mm-hmm. Other organizations have done some work or have maybe made commitments, mm-hmm. but they haven't known what it means to actually implement the change that's necessary, right? Mm-hmm. To make sure that you hire people carefully, right? That you are promoting everybody regardless, right, of whether they look like you or not. That you have processes in place that are supportive of the communities that you serve. And so we'll assess to see where folks are. We conduct training to help leaders understand where their blind spots are. And then we help you build a roadmap so that you can actually implement those commitments that people say they have to DEIB, right, but that they often don't translate into action.
Okay. Well, how did you get started in that space? So, I mean, I think it's all great what you're doing. And one of the things I do like the fact that you talked about equity, because I think a lot of people is like, before it was equality and now it's equity. Like understanding not everybody starts from the same space, right?
Right.
Like there's some privilege and advantages to certain people, which is a fact. We're not making this up.
Right.
But how did you get started in this space? Like, how did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
So I was a lawyer before I started Promoting Good, and to be truthful, I didn't love practicing law.
Well, what kind of law was it?
Very few people really actually enjoy practicing law.
Really?
Yes, it is true. I worked for a nonprofit law firm, and I did love my clients, and I loved my colleagues, but we served a community that was primarily of limited economic resources. Most of our lawyers didn't come from that background, and often didn't really understand, right, the experience of our clients, couldn't relate multiculturally or interculturally, and I think that left a lot on the table, right, and didn't leave our clients feeling as supported in the relationship, right, of lawyering that they should be. And so I did a lot of work as a lawyer to help lawyers figure out how to respect their clients, how to understand their clients, and to address inequities in the practice. And no one taught me how to do that. I just like figured it out, right? I'm a Mexican working in the United States, married to an American, spent my childhood like coming back and forth. And so have just like always understood how to communicate across difference. And what I recognized when I started practicing law is that people don't know how to do that. People don't know how to communicate across difference. And people don't realize that they're acting on bias. And so I started helping my organization to do that work. People started hearing that I had this thing I could do. And so I started consulting. And then one day, I just decided this is what I was meant to be doing. And so I quit my job and I started promoting good. And then people pay me now to do this work. It's great.
It's lovely. Like when your passion and your purpose collides, I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you made it seem easy, like you quit and, and start. And I love the fact that you said that, like, people don't understand that they have biases. We all do. Yeah. I think it's something we all truly do, but understanding how to communicate, like you said, across differences is so important because we leave a lot on the table when we don't, acknowledge and recognize other people's differences.
Yeah.
And, and I think that's where it gets confusing. And it's a tough space, I think, to be in because I've been in, I worked in another field for a very long time before I also quit my job. But
good for you.
yes, God, yes, year 2, right? And, but I've seen a lot of misrepresentation of what DEI looks like or DEIB and, things like that. And it's a title. So how have you challenged that?
Yes. So I think through a lot of creative advocacy, also coaching, and also like naming resistance, right? I think so. The first thing that I'm going to say is the point of diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging isn't to like fire white people. Right? Isn't to like not let them thrive, right? Like that isn't the goal.
No.
Diversity, and I tell this story in my training programs, right? I'm a Mexican. If I hired only Mexicans or if I hired only Mexican women, I would not have a diverse workforce.
You will not.
Right?
No.
Diversity only exists at a community level. And so if I did that, I would not be practicing or living my DIB values, right? And so we're not saying that that's what should happen. But right now, workplaces are still majority white. Many leadership teams still majority white men. And I think there is an assumption that those are the only folks who are qualified to be in those places, and that's not true. And so the work of DEIB, right, is to ensure that people can access the opportunity, right? And that no job belongs to anybody, right? And that if you have a good process, that the best person gets the job, right? And so there is a lot of just like dispelling those myths that exist. And there are some folks who don't want things to change.
True.
Because either they're in that seat and they don't want to give it up. And again, we're not saying that we should let go of anybody who is in that seat currently. I mean, unless they're behaving inappropriately or not fulfilling the job.
Can't perform.
But that the next opening actually be open to everybody, and that the best person gets it. And that it's about creating fair processes. And if you have fair processes, right, you're going to have a really good outcome that is fair and that people can live with. And so there is a lot of hard conversation that needs to happen, and naming that the people who are saying that this work is about replacing all white people, that is a narrative that is being used so that this work doesn't happen, because those people don't want to see people like me or you in those seats. And so we just have to be honest, right, about that, and that it is resistance, and that it isn't about moving one person in and move somebody else in, right? It's about making sure that everybody has a chance. And back to your point originally, right? It isn't about equality, it's about equity, right? We each need different things. And so from a workplace or from a culture perspective, it also means like understanding that people need different things, right? And how do you deliver those things for the members of your workforce who have different needs, right?
Absolutely. One of the things you keep saying and you keep going back to, and I think it's such a great point, is having processes. Because if you rely on, like the good old boys club or something like
Right.
that, someone who looks like the good old boy is going to be the ones that's promoted. But when you have processes in place that have actual results that you could see that this is beneficial, this is effective, then, I think you can go towards equity and you can go towards inclusion and, for whatever all the quotas they're trying to hit.
Yeah.
But just making sure that these processes are in place and that they're sustainable. It's not just like a one-hit wonder. Like, I love data or
Right.
data. Whatever somebody
Yep.
calls it, like data, like, right? Tomatoes.
Yep.
And, it's like when you implement something, like having the data to say, like, this works. So I can imagine you use a bit of data in your field.
Well, so we use data, and we encourage our clients to use data, and not all of them are using it. So sometimes, right, they may not even be ready to assess whether there is pay equity. By pay equity, I mean like people are being paid the same for similar work, or they may not even be able to measure whether they're having more turnover of Black employees or Latino employees than others, because they may not be collecting any demographic data. So some of our work is actually like, you have to start collecting this data. Like, you tell me that your system is fair, but you actually don't have any data that can tell me that it is. And so often we're helping our clients to build the data infrastructure so that they can actually then use data to decide. Like, maybe they do have fair pay. Maybe they do have fair paths to promotion. But unless you have data that can demonstrate it, how do you know, right? So yeah, so data is everything, or maybe not everything, but it's a lot of things.
It is a lot of things, yes.
So yes, we do a lot of work with data and the company data and comparing it to community data, right? Often I get asked, some of our clients are like, who should we do it like? Like, what organization is doing it like we need to do it? And I say, it all depends, right? Like, you can't compare yourself to another organization if the clients that you serve are different, right? So it all starts with community. So census data is really important. Like, who do you serve? What community do you live in? And so that's what the workforce should look like, right? Or that's what your student body should look like. And so it's not looking at your company data in isolation, but it's actually looking at it linked with the community that you serve. And so we can have somebody who says, like, maybe our diversity on our team isn't the correct diversity. And they're like, well, what do we do? And I'm like, well, don't just hire like random people who are like diverse. I'm
Just
like,
because.
who do you serve? Like, if you serve 50% Latinos, you might want to have some Latinos on your team.
Absolutely.
If you serve a large Southeast Asian community, then that might be a place where you want to prioritize hiring. And again, then if you are hiring for language, if you are hiring for that cultural experience, you're not being unfair. You're hiring for qualifications that you need
Absolutely.
to fulfill your mission, right? And again, dispelling the myth that somehow all of this work is like to, be unfair to some folks.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I love what you said, though, in terms of you have to kind of represent the community. I remember working in retail, and I have sugar, honey, and
Oh, I'm good.
creamer. Oh, you just do it
I
straight?
just do it straight.
I love it. I love it. When I worked in retail as a manager and as a district manager, one of the things I was always adamant about, and this was way before DEI was a thing, but I just wanted like my staff to represent the community. And a lot of times I would go into a store and the staff looks one way and the community is another. And, they always like, how did you find success? I just hired people who look like my customers. Like representation is so important
Yeah.
because they have this level of trust sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm a mother, right? And if I walk into a room and I'm having like a mother crisis and, you know, I'm going to look at somebody who's a mother. That's who I'm going to go to. I'm not going to go to maybe the teenager or the gentleman. And they may have great advice, but I am drawn to those who represent what I am looking for.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with community, right? And the same with as a company. If you're in a neighborhood, you're serving a particular clientele or a particular demographic, and nobody on your teams, and I mean nobody on your team looks like that community, I think it's challenging, and you can't say that you're diverse.
Correct.
And again, as you said, you can't say, you know, like if you're serving a large Asian community, it's like, well, let me hire a Latina and then I'm done with the diverse, but you're still not addressing the need of your customers.
Correct.
And ultimately, your customers are important.
Yeah, and I think your instinct is right. Like the other piece of this is that lived experience, lived experience is a skill that is important in the workplace, right? And so I think one of the other mistakes that happens, or one of the other myths, is that we, you know, when we're hiring or when we're assessing competence, like, you know, we're asking about the math skills, we're asking about like the, you know, do you know how to do like this technical thing? And we're forgetting that working with the customer is a part of the job. And so part of our work is also to help organizations think about, well, when you're interviewing, like what are the interpersonal things that you need your staff to do with your clients? And what are the questions you're asking to assess whether somebody is going to be able to relate to them? Like, it's a skill, right? That's not skin color.
No.
That is skill. And it is also possible, right, that a white person could have that skill.
Absolutely.
And so again, if you go back to process, if you go back to like the competency, that's what makes this work fair, right? We're not saying like we don't want this kind of person based on race. We're actually looking at like experience, right? Lived experience that is relevant to the work. Because that's what you need to provide equity to your clients, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I personally think that it's only fair that, you know, the right person gets the job.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of anything else, like the right person has to get the job. And you are more successful as a company if you have the right person in the role.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so many times I have taken over a store and I have like a manager who was fantastic at visual. And visual is huge in retail, but they had zero customer service skills. And, you know, they kept wondering, well, why isn't the store performing well? Well, what is the number one thing that you have to serve your clients?
Right.
Yeah, they care if the store looks good, but if you're not treating me well, if you're not friendly, you're not smiling, your head's down, and they're not going to be like responsive. They're not going to shop with you.
Right. No, they're going to go somewhere else.
They are.
Yeah.
Like human beings, like we like interaction.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're peopled out, but like we're done. We're staying in today. But like we like interactions and we like shared experiences and things like that. So what has been the most challenging thing for you though, like doing this work and promoting this work?
I mean, I think one of the big challenges is that there is always resistance somewhere in the organization, and we tell our clients, like, it's normal. You're going to experience that resistance, and the resistance isn't always somebody who doesn't believe in DEIB. Sometimes the resistance is that we will identify that there are some processes in place that don't work and that you need to change, and we know people don't like change.
No.
Right? Not only like change at all, right?
No.
And so some of the hard work is helping our clients just accept that change is going to be necessary, and then, you know, how do we help them make that change happen in a way that's going to work for them? And so it's a lot of conversation, right? A lot of coaching. How do you accept the change as a leader? And then how do we help your team accept the change, right? Embrace the change. And then you'll be successful in some places and you'll fail in others. And that's okay, right? If you are successful, then we can set an even higher goal. And if you're struggling in one place, then let's not keep trying to do the same thing over and over again. Let's like pivot and figure out what to do differently. But that's hard work, right? And it takes time. And I think a lot of people want the change to happen immediately. You know, because we just
I do. We're a microwave society, right? Instant, right? Yes.
And I touched my microphone. Hopefully, I didn't cause any trouble.
It's okay.
I got excited there, but managing sort of the patient factor. I think one of the other challenges we face is that, you know, usually there are some within the organization, particularly minoritized people who have been waiting for this work to happen. And there's urgency, right?
Yeah.
They feel urgency because they're struggling. And so they want change now. And then there's other people who are moving really slowly. And so how do you manage that some are like here and some are here, and that you have to, you know, move these guys and still manage, right? Like the folks who want more faster because they're rightfully, because they've been struggling.
They're ready.
They're frustrated or because they've been experiencing bad things, right? And they want it to stop. And so managing all of those things at once, or rather helping our clients manage all of those things is challenging, but important and rewarding.
No, absolutely. So what would you say to someone, because I know right now, like DEI is still a thing in terms of, you know, organizations are hiring for it. And it's a big thing. And I think there's a lot of roles for DEI right now. What would you say to someone who's thinking about going into that field? Like, how would you encourage them? Or like, what would the one, well, not one thing, what would you say to them to say like, hey, be prepared for this, but...
So I think the biggest thing that I would say is that you are going to have a lot of really challenging conversations. You have to be comfortable with conflict, and be willing to like dive into it.
Yeah.
And to not and to be able to manage yourself, right? Like some of my clients, I have a calm factor, right? That's like one of my superpowers.
I love it.
And it's part of why I'm successful in this work, right? Like my clients don't pay me to erupt when somebody in the organization does something bad, right? Other people erupt. And my job is to instruct, to coach, to point out, hey, that behavior is inappropriate, right? And this is how you should address it. But for some... And so I need to be calm and collected when those things happen so that I can advise. That's my job. But for those of us who are from minoritized communities, sometimes the behaviors we see can be triggering.
Yes.
And they can be triggering for us. We know they're triggering for our clients. And we have to be able to like figure out how we process that offline because we're working, right? And I think for some folks who are really passionate about this work, that can be really hard. But it's hard to be impactful as a consultant if you know when you're feeling it yourself. And so you really need to be able to do that well. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for you to do the work.
No, absolutely. I can't imagine like if you fly off the handle, because when you're angry, you can't hear or see, like you're not as aware as you should be of what's happening. So, and especially in that role, you need to be able to see everything so you can say, okay, so here's what happened. And, you know, be able to discuss that, and like tough conversations is a part of it. But is DEI fun at all?
Oh my goodness, yes. So one of our values is joy.
Okay.
So promoting good values like
what
joy,
are the values?
kindness, creativity, excellence, and equity. Those are our 5 values. And we bring joy to every project that we work on. As a team, we center joy. I'm all about joy in art, as you probably know from my other stuff that I do. We say that if we are successful, what we are doing is helping people to relate interculturally and interpersonally so that they can find joy across difference on teams. The other way that we bring joy in, so many workplaces have been built to think that it's only about the work, right? And what we say is like, the more you know each other, the more you, and we don't expect anyone to be best friends or to feel like family, because I think, work is not family,
No.
to be clear.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
if you can like the people who you work with,
Yes.
if you can find fun things to do with the people who you work with, then when you have to have a hard conversation,
Yeah.
like if I know that you like to read this, or I know that you like to have tea, then and if I've asked you how your kids are, or if you don't have kids, the soccer that you like to play or whatever, then when we have to have a challenging conversation, there is more trust. And so it's maybe it's less hard to have. And so we very intentionally spend time with our clients just trying to help them have fun, because they need to have relationships to do this work. So no, it is all about joy.
Okay, I love that.
It is all about joy.
I love that. So this question is going to lead me into the next chapter of
Yes.
your life, because I really wanted to spend a lot of time, talking about what you do for promoting good, because I think there's just so many misconceptions and myths that we have to break down in terms of what DEI is, and it's not to get rid of any one group or make any one group higher than the other. It's equity, and once you understand equity, you'll start to understand better, what DEI folks do. But how do you decompress, and how do you find your personal joy?
Yes. So I decompress by lifting weights. So
Oh, wow.
I do.
You go,
Yes.
girl.
My oldest got me doing Olympic weightlifting. So I'm in a barbell club.
Wow.
Because strength is important.
Yes.
So that's really fun. And family, cooking. But most importantly, right, my nonprofit,
Yes.
Casita Cultura Latina. So, and that started by accident 3 years
tell
ago.
Me about that. Yeah.
So I have always loved the arts, but I'm not an artist. I'm creative. My team keeps my Casita team is like, no, you really are artistic, but I'm not a creator of art.
Yeah.
And I love Mexican art, and I just miss it, right? Like the part of what I miss about Mexico is like being around the color.
Beautiful.
There's so many colors, right?
Just
and being
amazing.
around the art and the music and just all of that.
Food,
everything.
Yeah.
And you'll have to come over to my house sometime, right? There's like art everywhere. And because every time I go to Mexico, I bring stuff back. And what I realized during the pandemic was that I missed Mexico immensely. I really missed being in a creative environment. And we were having so many losses, right, due to COVID.
Yeah.
And so I had a cousin of mine who lived in Singapore, who's Mexican, sent me this picture of this Day of the Dead altar that Mexicans built in Singapore. And it was like stunning. And I was like, we need to do that next year. And so we did it, and it was so much fun. And we commissioned a work of art because, of course, my friend group, we don't know how to do anything like normal, right? Or average. So it's like, we're not just going to build an ofrenda, right? Which is like, we could have just done that in a weekend.
Yeah.
And so we raised $15,000 and like had a muralist make that beautiful art, the mural that's in front of the city manager's office. We held that big festival, and because I just wanted to celebrate Latin art. Like, that's it. And we wanted to honor, all of the lives that had been lost. And it was so much fun, and it felt so special. And honestly, we did it for ourselves. Like, at that moment in time, it was really for us, because we were lonely and we were sad and we were missing culture.
Yeah.
And then the community loved it. Like, and so people are like, you're doing that again, right? And so we were like, oh, I guess we have to do
we have no choice. We got to do this.
And so we did it again a year later. And of course, we had to do it even bigger because, that's who we are. And so we didn't just do the festival, right? We did another sculpture, and then we did a big gala, and that was so much fun. And then people were like, how do we join? Like, at the festival, the second year, they were like, how do we join?
How do we
and
become a part of this?
And we're like, there's no, like, I don't know, there's no membership. And so, year 3, we built a nonprofit. We now are going to have a membership structure. Because people are people want community.
Connect, yes.
People want to see art. whether they make it or not, right? They want to participate. They want to be surrounded by beauty.
It is.
And by joy, right?
Yes.
And so casita is what I do for fun.
Okay.
So it's a lot of work.
It is.
And it's occasionally exhausting.
So
I don't know that, but it is
brings you joy.
Brings me joy. And then after the festival in October, then I decompress.
Okay. That's when you go to Mexico and buy a lot of art. That's good. I was able to go to the one this year downtown, but I missed the one that you kept at the white.
Yes, that's the white
room. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go to that one, but I heard it was amazing. Sean Harris told me about it.
You know, I did that again. The most special thing about that night, and you'll have to come next year, and you don't have to drink tequila. We had multiple people who are not drinkers. Please, we are not a drinking club, although some of us do like tequila.
Okay. Heard there was quite a bit.
It was lovely. There was a lot of tequila, but there was also Redemption Rock, our beer, and there was a lot of Polar Seltzer.
Oh, okay.
But the most wonderful compliment that we got that night was that people felt belonging. Our goal was to do something beautiful, to have, and you would have loved it because I know you love all things beautiful. The space was beautiful, the decorations were beautiful, the music was beautiful, and everyone in that room was a beautiful person.
I love it.
And I don't mean beautiful I mean beautiful, what beautiful really is,
Absolutely.
right? And so people felt great in the space. And that's what we're about, right? That's what we want to do. And so whether you're American, whether you're Latino, whether you're white, black, whatever, we want to embrace you, and we want to show you Latino culture.
Absolutely.
And we want to learn about your culture too, right?
I love that. Give me the date immediately, because I know.
Oh, I will. We already have it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
All right. What is the date?
So it's going to be November 2nd next year.
Oh, okay. I will put that on my calendar. It's 2 days after my birthday.
Okay.
I will remember, because it's
Because where were you this year? It was your birthday.
Yeah, it was my birthday. What day did you have it?
I don't remember.
Okay, exactly. But there were so many things happening, because I do remember. I was like, oh my goodness, I was going through all these multiple things. And so it was like, and Carla, because Carla was there.
Oh, she did go,
She was there, and she was like, are you? And I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I just had, this year, and I don't want to go to multiple things in one night, because you miss the true experience.
Yes.
And it can't be helped. And I think it's so amazing that there's so many different organizations doing so many different things, but there's only so many days in the week.
That's right. That's right.
So it's tough. So I was like, I put it in first. That's where, so I have it November 2nd.
November 2nd next year. Which is great, because next year, so Day of the Dead in Mexico is on November 2nd.
Oh, okay.
And here you have to do it on a weekend, because in Mexico, things would be closed. Here, things are not closed.
No.
But so next year, it falls on, the Saturday falls on the holiday.
That's
so
wonderful.
That'll be great.
Oh, that's wonderful. No, I love that. It was weekend, because there's school and there's work, and I mean, who wants to go and have this amazing thing and then get up and go to work the next day?
Right.
And then get the kids up for school.
Exactly. But you came to our book club.
I did.
Yeah.
With the one with the fireside chat. I came to that, and I did come to the one at City Hall. I did come to the one on the Commons. So when I can, I do, because I'm fascinated by other cultures, and I've been to other cultures, and I knew that and I think, as I said to you before the show started, I think a lot of times the things that we learn from different cultures, sometimes it's in the movies or from other people, is not actually factual.
Yeah.
And I just, because I have such a fabulous culture in Jamaica, and I think it sometimes get blown out of proportion with certain things are highlighted, and it's such a rich culture. Right. So I love going to different spaces and just hearing different people talk. And that was a great chat, by the way, with the author, just talking about
it. Was a great chat.
She's a firecracker. I was
a firecracker.
I loved it though.
No, she was phenomenal, and the audience was great. I mean, it was a small audience, but it was a good audience. The conversation was awesome, and we are, one of our commitments, aside from joy and culture, is, we as Latinos have our own stereotypes, right? We also have the ways in which we are not good to others, or even to people within our community. And so one of our commitments is to have honest dialogue about our own challenges. And so it was a
And she was
perfect
honest.
first author.
She was honest,
right?
She was like very honest.
Yes.
Like, cause she talked about like, and like within our culture, there was the thing like, does not talked about much anymore, but like it was just like the color test, like unfortunately, like sometimes, and I think we're getting away from that because like the darker skin now is more like everybody wants to be dark, but back in the day, like even within our own culture, being dark skin was like looked at as a bad sign, like people wanted to be lighter skin, bleaching their skin and things like that. So there are tough conversations, I think, within families, within organizations, within your own group, and it's just like not shying away from it. And one of the things like I did this year, like I do coaching, and one of the things I was like, you have to be willing to have the tough conversations. You cannot move forward without them. And it's not a pointing out like you're doing this wrong, because we all have rooms for growth and opportunity, right? But if we are willing to have the tough conversation, that signals to the other person that I want to make this work. I want to do better. And isn't that what we all want? Like, just like me, intentional joy.
Right.
Like intentional joy all the way. I don't want to go through life being unhappy. And I don't want to make people around me be unhappy. I want, when I walk into a room or somebody thinks of me, they think happy, joy, light.
Right. Yes, that is absolutely right. And high heels.
I mean, yes, absolutely. It sparkles and diamonds, but I want them to be light. And, and then who doesn't, then they're okay. But then they don't need to be thinking of me anyway. Right?
That's right.
Yes, exactly. So what are some of the things that you're looking forward to for 2024, though?
So 2024 is going to be an awesome year.
Yay, claim it.
So my big commitment is that I'm going to take Promoting Good to Mexico.
Yes.
So
That's huge.
More and more miss Mexico, and so Promoting Good is going to launch in Mexico this year, so that I can spend some time there.
Oh, when is that?
And so we are hoping that we'll launch with sort of a pilot by the end of the first quarter. And my personal goal is to be able to go 3 times a year, do a little work,
obviously,
and then obviously stay and do a little play.
Absolutely. Where in Mexico?
So I go to Mexico City.
Oh, okay.
That's where my family is. That's where I went to high school, where I still have a lot of friends. And it's the business center in the country. It's the capital. And so that's where we will go. When I go with my family, we also travel somewhere else. We want our kids to, although now they're like almost adults, but our goal was that they really would experience Mexico fully. And so we normally go to Mexico City to see family, and then we go somewhere else.
Absolutely.
But for work, it'll probably be Mexico City, which is the coolest place in the world.
Yeah.
Or one of them.
I don't know if I've been there. I mean, obviously I've been to
so
Cancun.
much fun.
I've been to Cancun. I've been to Chichen Itza, right? Like it's the tourist place, right? Like that's where.
Although Chichen Itza is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was. Although like that, there's that little dark thing when you jump down in the water. Like that was terrifying. I'm not gonna lie about that. I was like, But yeah, no, that was fun.
Fun in Mexico City.
Oh yes, I loved it. Like I'm in the markets. I'm there. I'm like I'm colorful and like they're like I'm a talker. So. There was a language barrier, but it was fine. Like it was fine. I just kept saying, see. Like
and people are friendly.
Like they are so friendly. Like they're like going, oh my God, and I'm like, oh my God, like I love Mexico, and I know I haven't really
this actually
that
I'm wearing. I wore it today. It's the first time I'm wearing it.
Oh, okay, and it's beautiful.
Actually, no, that's not true. It's the second time I'm wearing it. I wore it to another event, but. It's I got it in Mexico last time I was there.
Oh,
so it's a traditional little Mexican covering that I'm wearing as a scarf.
I know it. Like I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was a scarf, and I was like, oh, okay. Now you're just giving me a new way to wear mine.
There you go. But I try to
it.
bring back something every time.
Yeah.
And then I wear these things, and it reminds me. It's like a way of having Mexico with me wherever I am.
Exactly. I mean, you're stimulating the economy in Mexico.
There you go. And actually, I need to tag the artist who made this.
Please.
So yes, he'll be thrilled.
Oh, okay. So share, and then we can tag it in the post. Like, absolutely. I know we were talking about promoting it, but let's shout out your team because I know that you have a team.
Oh, yes.
Yes, let's shout them out.
So let's shout them out. So at Promoting Good, my Chief Operating Officer, Shauna Curran, she is fabulous, and you should have her on your show to talk about STEM Energy, which is her program for women of color entering STEM.
Done.
And then I want to shout out my Casita Cultura Latina team. So Raquel Castro, my co-director, Germán Chiriboga, who is our resident artist, Laura Martinez, who is on our board, Michelle Salazar, and Joy Murrieta. They are the funnest, coolest people. And then lastly, I think I do want to give a shout out to Redemption Rock for the beer collaboration that they did with us this year. They are amazing. And if you have not gone and had tea there or gotten coffee there.
Wait, they have tea?
Oh my God, they have amazing tea.
All right, finish your thought and then we'll go back to that.
Amazing tea.
Finish what you're doing and then we'll go back. We go back.
Please visit Redemption Rock. It is it's where I had my second anniversary for Promoting Good. It is an amazing place. Drop by. Great beer, kombucha, lattes, tea. You should go. You probably didn't go because you thought that they just had beer.
That's it. So the first time I went there, I just went there the other day with some event through the chamber. And it's big, like an ice skating thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's but I never would even suggested it or thought because it's called Redemption Rock, brewery. I thought it was just beer. You can get tea there.
Yes.
Sold.
Yeah.
I will be there. I have a little thing for tea.
I know. And you have these beautiful gold cups.
I cannot own another teapot. Talk about stimulating the economy there. But
well, you could, but you don't have to.
Yeah, we're going to leave that one alone. But I just saw a beautiful one at TJ Maxx, black and white. I don't have that one yet. But anyway, I did buy one for Christmas because it's red and white and I didn't have one.
Yes.
Yeah, they're so pretty. But yeah, no, I love tea, from the tea parties to sipping tea with Suzanne. And I have a new show coming called Spill the Tea.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So it's just 15 minutes because a lot of people are intimidated by the 1 hour concept. Yes. So I just want it to be a place for people if they want to come and share something that's happening in their organization, something hey, we're having a festival, we're having a launch, we're having a grand opening. It's 15 minutes. They come, we chat, they share it, and that's it. And it's over just like that.
Yeah. It would be a great way also maybe for people to practice a talk that they want to give, right?
Okay, yeah.
Just saying.
Just
a thought. Right? You know
Word.
me, I'm always up for collaboration.
Absolutely. You and I, we haven't done anything yet. We're going to be doing something. We will. I never, because God is so intentional. He places people in my life and it might not be this year or even next year.
Yeah.
But we will, there's always be room because you're about joy and I'm about joy and
yeah, 100%.
More joy in this world.
And maybe Casita and we can do work for Promoting Good. We can also think about how we collaborate. Because I think there could be some really fun, interesting things, right? Between sort of Jamaica and
okay,
right? I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. It might require a trip to us to Jamaica to check it out. Sans kids and husband, it's okay.
I imagine what we could go to Jamaica, and then so you could take me to Jamaica, and then I could take you to Mexico City.
Listen,
right?
And it's work.
It's work. Absolutely.
We could absolutely do that. So, oh my goodness. So I can't wait for you guys to launch that. Is there any thoughts to having Promoting Good anywhere else over the world, or that's a long-term plan? I'm jumping ahead of you.
No. So we absolutely would like to do work in other parts of the world, and we have thought about doing some work in Southeast Asia, doing some work in Europe. We're open.
Okay. So do you seek your clients or your clients seek you? How do you guys get connected?
So I will knock on wood. I don't know where the wood is.
I don't know. It's
somewhere. We really are, all of our clients have come to us word of mouth. Wonderful. And, because our work speaks for itself and people know us and trust us. And so, but to grow, beyond, to grow beyond Worcester, to grow sort of beyond The US, we probably will start to do a little bit of marketing, but trying to do that carefully and, responsibly, and also to have our growth be responsible.
Okay.
But yeah, right now people just find us. So if you like, if you like what we've done, you can call us, and we'd love to have a conversation. And then to see if it makes sense, right? Like, are our values aligned? Are you going to trust us? Are you going to listen to us? We want to make sure it's a relationship that works, because we work with our clients for, a long time. And so, there needs to be mutual trust and respect.
Absolutely. Like, you have to assess. And that's why I say to people sometimes, like, in any business, whatever you do, like, the clients are interviewing you, but you're also should, like, don't just take money. Not all money is good money.
We've made a few mistakes, but we've learned. We've learned.
So all we can do.
It's all we can do.
All we can do, like,
it's
learn.
like, but it's like a coach, right? I'm sure that there are that you've had coaching experiences that have worked, and others that maybe you're not a fit for.
Have I? Like, it's funny, because I think it's a relationship. It's an intimate relationships. It's tough conversations, that you're having, and there has to be that level of trust to ensure that, like, they're getting what they want, but I'm also getting what I want, because it's like, if you are for your world, if you're giving them, ideas and systems and all of that, and they're not doing it, and then they're saying to you, well, I'm not getting the results. Well, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And, the back, like, after a while, you're going to have to say, okay, you could either start doing this, or we're going to have to part ways, because this is not healthy for either of us.
Right.
And I think the same thing with coaching. Folks will not take advice.
I know.
and cry and, like, wonder why it's not working, because you didn't do the work.
I know.
So, and I am this year going to be transitioning away from a lot of the coaching and consulting, because it does take up a lot of time.
Yep.
And, I'm trying to move more towards my speaking engagement, my workshop facilitation, things like that. And I want to be true to me, and I want to make sure that I continue to be fulfilled, and I don't stretch myself thin being it for someone else and everyone else, and forget me, because I'm a wife, I'm a mom, but I'm a person.
Right.
More importantly. Like,
well, what do you need? Is there something I could do to be helpful?
Not at this time, but
you'll reach out?
I'll reach out.
All right.
I absolutely will reach out if it's something that
And
so.
I don't even mean I don't mean
No,
promoting good, right?
not at all. Like,
just like we
not
need
yet.
to support each other.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, and that's how we grow. I was talking to Bree today, like, she was on the show earlier, but no, we absolutely, like,
Her
women,
chocolates are so good.
Oh my
gracious.
goodness, yes, we talked about that. Women, like, the redemptive, the comforting power of helping female, for me, is so important.
Yeah.
Like, and if I always feel like we help each other, and if there's a female that, we're not all good. I'm not gonna lie.
We are not all good.
We're
That
not
is so
all good.
true.
We're not. But if there's a female that's not good, and I feel that they're a toxic dream killer, or somebody that I don't need to have in my space, I have no challenges. I don't wish them bad. I
Yeah.
just have no challenges separated and moving forward, because I refuse to go through life unhappy.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Like, we just can't.
Yeah, and some people maybe want to not be unhappy, but they're not ready yet.
Yeah.
Right.
They're-
And maybe they will be, but you don't have to wait while they get ready.
You
right?
can't, like, you
Yeah.
don't, no. So I've been, like, girl, I can do boundaries. I refuse to, like, I just refuse. And I recognize that's a skill, it's a privilege, or whatever, it's a gift from God, all of that. But no, I have no challenge walking away, compartmentalizing, and not allowing negativity to invade my space.
Yeah.
I'm positively Suzanne.
You
are. It's like, what else? Like, what else?
Yeah.
All right. So, do you do any events for promoting good? Like, are you you do the work, but are you? Because I haven't seen any events. Do you guys do? Events?
So we do some events. So last
tell us
year,
about it. So how
maybe
can we support?
we might have met after our event.
Okay.
So last year for our 5th anniversary, we hosted what I called a Day of Good.
Okay.
And so we held it was in January, so a year ago. And this year it's going to be in May, which is why I don't know about it yet.
Yes.
But so promoting good is all about helping people do good. And so our Day of Good was our opportunity to highlight the work of 6 local leaders who we think are doing good every day. And so we rented, we got the JMAC. We had a beautiful event. Each of our honorees got to give a pitch about their work, and we gave them gifts, and we had good food and music. And so that is that again, at the time, I was like, we'll just do it once because it's our 5th anniversary. And then everyone was like, oh my God, that was so cool. You have to do it again. So it's now going to be an annual event. And of course, this year, because again, like everything has to be bigger and better. And not everything, but the things that are good need to be bigger and better.
Absolutely.
And so this year, it'll both be an awards ceremony like it was last year, but we're also going to have some sessions where people can learn about DEI work.
I love that.
And so that'll be a really fun event that happens in the spring.
Yeah.
And then most of our events, I do speaking events at conferences. I love giving talks. And maybe we could do a talk together. That might be fun. But most of those events are private events, right, for corporations or other things like that.
No, I understand that. As I know it's funny, like when I go to, like, they're like, show me some of your work, like where you've done. And I'm like, well, they've been for organization and like it's not videotaped. So like you can't. So it's like it's a double-edged sword because it's like you're doing a workshop for an organization, but like you can't record it. Like so.
Right. Well, in our work, and it is a marketing challenge. My marketing team is always like, but we're helping our clients to have really hard conversations, and for them to feel comfortable talking about that stuff, it has to be confidential.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they're not going to be honest. So, what you're going to get is a reference.
Exactly.
And our clients are happy to talk about our work, but I'm never going to, would you want me to record you?
I would not.
Probably, I don't, like.
No, I know,
my client,
I would not.
right?
I understand. Like, I wouldn't. I get that.
Yeah.
Like, I get that. Like, sometimes people say, I'm like, well, no, like when I do like the small intimate workshops, it's just because people are not as vulnerable.
Yeah.
And as you're right, honest, like you hit the nail on the head with like honest, and you don't want that. It's kind of like when you're doing good, sometimes, so it's one of the things that frustrates me. I think that like when you're doing good, and you're doing certain events, I think there should be a certain level of like transparency in terms of having cameras and things like that. But I think like when I see the videos of like people pulling up to like a hungry person on the street and giving them a sandwich and doing like I don't see the need for that. Yeah. Like I really don't, because I'm thinking if I'm in my weakest, lowest moment and somebody's given me something, I don't know if I want the whole world to know about it until I'm ready to share it.
Right.
So I think they just take their dignity away. So I get it. It's a challenge. But I think that as long as, you're saying you're right, your clients get to speak about what you do, that's all that matters, word of mouth.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And we do have one of our norms is that everything stays in the room, right?
Yeah.
Like you can take a lesson, you can learn from what somebody shares, but you can't share the story.
Absolutely.
Because it's not yours,
no.
right? And so all those things on Facebook or wherever they are, or TikTok probably, like it's like, did you give the sandwich so that you'd have a video?
See, it breaks my heart.
Right? It's like no.
It does.
Then
breaks
you're
my
actually
heart.
not doing good.
No, you're not.
You're
not.
You're not doing bad, but are you really doing good?
No, but then it's like, so if someone has a charity and they're giving away like, yes, promote it so you can get donations and stuff like that. Like I get it, but like I said, walking up and giving it $10 to say, hey, go buy a Coke, and then video it and sharing it, and I'm like, maybe we should reconsider what actual doing good is.
Exactly.
Like, people should have their dignity.
They should.
Like, well, we should have our dignity. Okay. So we know what's upcoming for promoting good. We know what's coming up for Casita this year. We have the Day of the Dead. We have I don't want to call it the tequila tasting because that's not
just a gala, right? So
a gala. And I love a gala. I love a gala.
I know you love a gala. And we are going to host. So that was a really lovely thing.
Lovely.
We are going to host more events like that are a little more intimate because that's really big. So we're going to hold some more intimate gatherings during the course of the year. We're going to have a few more book clubs.
Yes.
So if you have a book that you think we should read, an author who should come, let us know.
Okay.
And those are our plans for
that.
Casita.
No, I love fireside chats. Like, hello, look what I'm doing. I like chatting. I love that one-on-one component. Yeah. And like when envisioned this show like I thought of, like the fireside-esque chat, like you're just sitting with somebody and like you're having a conversation versus, like scripted,
Right.
questions and things like that. So please, absolutely have more authors. I love to show up in the audience and just listen and learn and, get insight. And I might not always agree with everything they're saying, and I think that's how you learn.
I think that's right. And like, it's okay. I think we can disagree.
We have to.
Like, it's actually okay.
We have
right?
to.
And healthy conflict would be me saying what I want to say, you saying what you want to say, and then us agreeing to disagree.
Absolutely.
But we don't have to yell at each other about it.
No.
Like, we can just talk about it, right?
Like, okay, you're not going to convince me. Like,
right.
It's like Bree was on the show. I'm like, oh my God, I'm telling her business. But I was like, one of her best treats or, her most popular is peanut butter with chocolate. Like, I don't believe peanut butter belongs with chocolate.
Oh.
Like, and I know that I'm in the minority because a lot of people.
I think you are. In my house, you'd be.
Exactly. And like every time I go somewhere and like Reese's peanut butter cup, like I had a friend that I cannot.
So what do you think chocolate belongs alone, or can it be mixed with anything?
It mostly belongs by itself, but it can mix with almond. I mean, I have almonds, hazelnut.
Hazelnut's my favorite.
Yes, I love like Ferrero Rocher, like things like that. But like I just can't get into peanut butter with chocolate.
And would you put peppermint or no?
Yes.
You would. Okay.
Some moments. Okay. Like some moments. But yeah, it's the same with like Oreo cookies, right? Like I love Oreos. And they just come out with way too many flavors. Yes. And I was saying to my cousin, like, oh my God, like I just wish they would stop. She's actually a scientist at Kraft Foods, and that's what she's responsible for.
So you're like, yes, stop. I'm telling you to stop.
And I don't know how we're having this conversation. And she, kind of let me know this is like her job. So.
You're probably not going to convince her.
No. And it's okay. We agreed to disagree that, like, I just want my regular Oreo, not double stuff, not triple stuff, not candy cane, nothing.
Right. Not strawberry, whatever.
Exactly. And she's going to continue to get inventive with flavors. We disagreed and we moved on. It's like, if we could just disagree and move on, as long as it's not, at the expense of somebody's freedom, liberty, life.
Correct.
I think it's okay to disagree.
I think that's right.
I think so. So tell me, all right, so we don't have a lot of time.
Okay.
So anything else you want to share while we're here?
Anything else that I want to share? I think the last thing that I'll share is, small businesses are struggling. And so visit small businesses, right? Like if you're choosing a restaurant, choose small.
It's important.
If you're choosing a brewery, choose small. If you're shopping, try small. Because, it's small businesses that make up the fabric of our neighborhoods, right? Your business, my business.
Absolutely.
And so, if you have some money to spend it local.
Absolutely. And I think, sometimes folks are like, well, it's cheaper at the bigger company. Yes, because it's mass produced. And, they can afford that. But like a small business is like one purchase means so much to them. I truly believe in support. I'm a small business. You're a small business, promoting small businesses. So, and our community has shown up for us in so many different ways. So how can we not show up in support? So what, for you, what's your next event that you're going to attend in the community? What are you looking forward to?
I'm going to go to the Martin Luther King breakfast next Monday.
Okay, it's next Monday.
So at QCC. Yes. So you'll be there. Won't you be? Or no?
Yes.
Is it? No.
It's not. It's not
I'm
next
sorry.
Monday. I was like,
No. It's 2 Mondays. 2 Mondays.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm a week ahead of myself.
Okay, because I was like, wait.
No.
Okay, I was like, wait, what?
So I have that.
Yes.
We Casita have an event this weekend because it's All King's Day.
Yes.
So we have a private-ish event this weekend to celebrate. But the big event will be the Martin Luther King breakfast, which is such a beautiful event.
So I've never actually gone because I've always had to work. So I've always had to work. And then in 2022, that was my last year working. And then last year, I can't remember the reason why, but there was a reason why I couldn't. And I was like, and my mom's gone every year. So I will definitely be there as a QCC alumni president.
That's great. And I love that you're in that role.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Thank you. When I decided to run for it, I was like, well.
Yeah. QCC is such a great thing.
I love that, yes.
And Sean here is like the coolest.
Sean is fantastic. And Sean, I hope you're watching because he's like one of my number one viewers.
Oh, hey, Sean. And I used to work for years with Sean's wife.
Oh, okay.
And so it's been so nice to reconnect with him
Yes.
and with Liza. Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. Sean is everywhere. Like, and
He is absolutely everywhere.
And listen, he's kind of like you. You're promoting good, and he's like he highlights others who's doing dope things. I don't think you say things, Sean, but we're gonna go with things. So no,
he is such a good guy. Yes,
he
and
is.
he is an amazing leader, and he is always amplifying the work that other people are doing. And people aren't asking him to do it.
He just
does it. It's he is so generous.
No, he is. He is kind of like, he amplifies others who does dope things, right? That's his tagline or his motto. And no, I mean, this year is Sean. And Sean, I have to tell you about a connection that we don't have time. So I'll tell you of it offline. But ever since Sean has, stepped into my life, as I've gotten the QC alumni, like he mentions my name in spaces and places, and I appreciate him so much. And, I always make sure that I pay it forward. I mention people's name in spaces and places because I know that there are other people mentioning in my name. So, Sean, we appreciate you. And
That's
there's
great.
two of us, and that was planned.
That's right. There wasn't a plan. And I will keep in mind that you want to do more talking.
I do.
And I want to do more talking. So if you hear of things, let me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I want to focus on authenticity.
So I got to chime in. So Sean says to remind you that it is a QCC event, but it's at Assumption College.
Okay, all right. So our producer is letting us know. I do know that. So it is a QCC event, and it's at Assumption College because of the renovation.
Okay, that's a good clarification. I would have hated for us to be sending everyone to the wrong place.
Exactly.
So, and thanks Assumption for hosting.
Yeah, thank you, Assumption. I didn't know. I don't know why I didn't mention that part. Listen, this is the beauty of being live, right?
That's right. You can get the corrections.
Yes, thank you, producer. He does everything and he answers everything. So yes, we're looking forward to that. And Sean will talk. Wait, Sean, are you back at work? I thought you were on vacation. But but no, thank you so much. I will mention your name in spaces and
likewise.
Thank you. And we'll talk.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
It was fun. I learned so much.
Oh,
just listen. I'm fascinated by, the work that you do, the field that you do. And like I said, we connected through just the name of your thing. And you actually just reached out on Facebook randomly. It's like, I would like to meet you. Let's chat.
Yeah.
I love Facebook. Good old Facebook. And here we are.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge. And I look forward to many amazing things from both Promoting Good and Casita and our trip to Mexico and Jamaica.
Oh, absolutely. And thanks to your producer.
Yes. Thank you, my wonderful producer. Appreciate you, Sean. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody else, I know it's Sean because Sean is vocal. Yes, and until next time, this is Suzanne and
Valerie
saying
bye.
Bye. Be good to yourself.